Today, the United States of America is changing its relationship with the people of Cuba.
December 17, 2014 marked the beginning of the end of one of the last Cold War remnants. The United States and Cuba launched a new era of relations after half a century.
Everything that we've been able to accomplish in 1 year is pretty significant. We've had 2 rounds of regulatory changes. We've had the opening of embassies in Washington and in Havana. Cuba is now removed from the state sponsor of terrorist list. So we're seeing new steps towards normalization at every turn.
Embassies are up and running for the first time since 1961. But one shadow still looms: the embargo on Cuba, a policy President John F. Kennedy put into effect in 1962. Will changing relations mean a change to the embargo?
One of the responses I get on a regular basis from a very small group that I know I will never change, their argument is, well, this will only benefit the existing regime. That's not true. In fact, the embargo has benefited the existing regime at the expense of the very people it was intended to help, the Cuban people.
It's not just the White House that's had a change of heart. U.S. public opinion has followed suit.
Opinion polls after opinion polls are saying that we want closer U.S.-Cuba ties. The American public wants that. Cuban Americans want that. So I think Congress has a real opportunity right now to legislate the will of the American people.
We introduced the bill at the end of July, right before the August recess, and it's a straight lift the embargo bill. Because from my perspective, lifting the embargo is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
While Congress considers the bill, the Cuba Trade Act of 2015, the Obama administration has taken initial steps to ease trade and travel.
The changing regulations pursuant to President Obama's overall opening up relations with Cuba have expanded opportunities for U.S. businesses. One of the areas where there's perhaps the greatest opportunities in the area of telecommunications and internet communications. The opportunities for U.S. companies are broader, including being able to work with the Cuban government.
In our delegations to the island, we take a lot of companies who want to go down and really try to better understand the investment climate in Cuba, to better understand the perspective of Cuban government officials. So the easing of our regulatory framework towards Cuba is a significant step. It's a historic and very important step, but we must go further. To have full normalized relations between the U.S. and Cuba, we have to lift the embargo.
Cuban economist Ileana Díaz Fernández says the move would better Cuba's economy in the eyes of investors.
Y bueno, unas relaciones de vecinos que no hay que verse como enemigos. Y creo que eso es ya importante, y es ya importante para la economía. ¿Por qué? Porque el hecho de que el resto de los países del mundo vea que Estados Unidos restablece relaciones y Cuba restablece relaciones con Estados Unidos, que va a haber mínimamente más intercambio, al menos diplomático en principio, es ya positivo a los efectos de confianza. Sí, los inversores necesitan confianza y una confianza pasa por ahí.
With GDP growing 1.3% in 2014, Cuba is desperate to get economic engines running. And though President Raúl Castro launched economic reforms in 2011, growth remains sluggish. One issue is Cuba's state-planned economy. Over 70% of the workforce is employed by the state.
There's a growing entrepreneurial private sector in Cuba, but it's limited.
Hay que hacer una serie de cosas para aprovechar, que se quite el bloqueo. Yo creo que esas cosas de todas maneras hay que hacerlas. Se quitara o no se quitara el bloqueo, hay que hacerlas. Lo que no se puede pretender es llegar y que todo vaya a cambiar de ahora para luego. No se puede pretender. Yo creo que se van a ir transformando en la misma medida en que se van a ir aprovechando las bondades de la eliminación del bloqueo.
So what's next?
Realistically, people should be looking within the next 2 to 3 years, realistically. That doesn't mean, however, that we should just assume that there's no opportunity to get it passed much sooner.
For ASCOA Online, this is Elizabeth Gonzalez. For more news and analysis on Latin America, visit as-coa.org and subscribe to our YouTube channel.